Hello. Welcome to Lori's Classroom Stories and Crochet.
Hi there, it's Lori, and today I'm here with a cat story because I'm going to talk about a cat toy I made. Anyway, here's the cat story. I was out of town for 2 weeks, thought I had all my yarn put away pretty well. My aunt was coming in and checking the cats every few days, and everything seemed fine. But the day we arrived, and so I believe this, and my cats are fighting right now, so there you go, that's appropriate. I believe it was the very last day that we were gone, so she wouldn't have come that day. We came home to imagine this strewn all the way from where I store my yarn, which is also happens to be where the cat's litter box and food and everything is. We call it the cat room. It's really also the yarn room, but it was strewn all the way down the hall and then partially down the stairs. It was a blue and white of this type of yarn. And I'm like, the cat got into the yarn. Then I noticed the cat, the big one, the big white and orange one, who, you know, at the time weighed, I think, 17 pounds. Well, he wasn't eating. And this is very unlike him. Incredibly food motivated cat. So I was like, I wonder what's wrong. And then I was the food dropped because I have an automated feeder. Because otherwise they will eat all day. I've never had cats that I've had to not just let free feed. No, they have to have food delivered to them in certain portions. Otherwise they would eat there all day, and my cat would weigh 50 pounds instead of, now he's down to 15 and a half. We've done a really good, we've done a really good job in not letting him eat too much. Anyway, so this cat, who's super food motivated, clearly is not eating, and I'm like, what is wrong? So I followed him in when the food dropped, and I see the blue and white yarn coming out the back end, or I didn't even realize it was attached to him at the time. And I was like trying to get closer, so I kind of stepped near him. Well, I managed to step on the little tail of yarn that was sticking out, and he took off. And all the yarn came out. Now, in part, I just felt relieved, and oh my gosh, that could have been so terrible. But this is a lesson also when you're making cat toys. It's very important to use cotton yarn. Now that yarn was called Just Cotton. It was from the Dollar Tree. It's 85% cotton, but again, it being a natural fiber for the most part, I think helped. And the fact that maybe he doesn't choose food, I don't know. I just feel really lucky that he was fine. But yeah, it was about, I'm gonna ballpark 5-ish feet, maybe 4. Maybe it was only 4 feet long. Piece of string that went right through. But he was okay, and I was very relieved. So it's both funny and just, that was a scary moment also. But anyway, so if you're making cat things or anything for animals, please always use natural fibers, preferably 100% cotton, which this one is. This is, what's this called? Sugar and cream cotton. So what I made was Cinnamon Stitches Bumpy pumpkin. So it's fun, but I wanted it to be a cat toy. So I actually had to make several adjustments. Here's a funny thing. Any of you that watched that, she made her stem her thumb. Well, this stem is also my thumb, but I have little tiny hands, so it's much smaller. And then down here, one of the adjustments I made, instead of on this next row where it starts being the variegated candy corn color, I did not do basically 2 per stitch, because I did originally follow her pattern exactly, and it was just getting way too big too fast. And I'm like, well, it's a cat toy, so it needs to be smaller. So you can see that's fairly small. Hers is much larger, definitely for decoration. So that was the first change I made, that I didn't do double. So I did front post, and then in the next stitch, then I did a double crochet. So I wasn't doubling up on each. So I wasn't double crocheting in the top of the post. Anyway, that was the first adjustment I made. And then the other adjustment I made, oh yeah, so I didn't want it to have too many holes, like, because right next to the popcorn stitch you can kind of see there's a hole, and I just didn't want too much there. I did stuff this, by the way, with this. This is the Just Cotton yarn from the Dollar Tree, or Premier. But so I used the rest of that ball, and I just stuffed that because I wanted to make it safe for the cat. I forgot to put catnip in it though, but then I was glad, because if I had put catnip in it and then left it on the counter or on the table I was working, I guarantee the cats would have taken off with it already, because every time I was making cat toy pumpkins, I get different pattern in the past, and I had the catnip in there, it would disappear if I left it out. And then I'd have to make another one for my friends. So, or my friends' cats, really. Anyway, so that's the adjustment, the biggest adjustment I made. Oh, to compensate for the hole. So I started, let's see if I can get this. So right here, so you're crocheting this direction. Instead of just like make it on the 3 double crochet rows, and I know some of you have already made this, on the next row where I did the popcorns, or no, when I was doing the 3 crochets, I pulled that stitch all the way down, so I kind of made it an elongated stitch into that double next to the post to kind of fill that hole a little bit. And I feel like it did fill the holes pretty well. I mean, there's still a few, but that's where we're at with that one, and I'm really happy with how it came out. And as soon as I put catnip in this, I'm gonna have to hide it, because it is actually for someone specific. So, well, their cat. So I'm gonna have to hide it once I actually put catnip in it, because my kitties have many a time stolen them, and then I can't find them, and then all of a sudden it'll show up like 6 months later, because they like to hide their toys and then bring them out, especially the multicolored cat. The orange and white cat is the Garfield, the big guy who ate the yarn. He has not eaten any yarn since, but I'm also way better about making sure it's not appealing or accessible to them the way it was. Anyway, that's my cat story and my cinnamon stitches. I will link that pattern below, but I wanted to tell you my adjustments to turn it into something much smaller for a cat. It's like I said, it's kind of hefty, but I have a feeling, like I said, once I put the catnip in there, they're probably going to go crazy. So that's it for today. Talk to you later.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe.